It's an early start today, it's first light, but we haven't got too far to travel today. We're meeting up yet again with Simon Watts of Wild Presentations because he's very kindly arranged a morning with the Stanford Ringing Group. Well, as you can see, the sun's now up and we're just following Simon up this authorised access only road to the ringing station. It's a really pleasant autumn day today. The wind and rain from yesterday has gone, so I'm told it's just right for bird ringing. The ringing's been going on since about 7 this morning, and the first bird we see is the elusive Chetty's warbler. Up until now I've never been able to film one of these birds. You just hear that distinctive call and maybe a flash of brown as it flies from bush to bush. But there we are, bathed in the beautiful autumn sunshine, the elusive Chetty's warbler. This is the ringing station where the birds are ringed, measured and weighed. These are the ringing pliers with different sized recesses for different sized rings. The scribe here is taking down all the data, and all this data will be sent to the BTO. Becoming a ringer can take many years of monitored practice under the guidance of experienced and qualified mentors. If successful, you become a C ringer, but you still need permission from your mentor to ring, and this is a great tip.
See how black that is and how wide that is.
Yeah.
And it's black right across and all the way down, so this makes it a male.
Oh,
if
yeah.
it was a female, this would run out about here and it'd be all patchy and it certainly wouldn't extend over the legs like that.
I mean, you can never tell them when they're flying apart, can you?
No. You could tell maybe if they're on a feeder,
Yeah,
you would be able to see from the amount of black, but no, not just when they're flying around.
Well, now I know what to look for, you know, don't you now?
Yeah, that's right.
Once a C ringer, if you're proving that you're maintaining your skills
76.
at setting up nets safely, extracting birds safely, and knowing how to identify the key elements of age and sex ID for all the various species, you can then apply to become an A ringer. This is a chiff-chaff. The birds are brought from the mist nets in these bags and hung on a pole, and the more smaller delicate birds such as chiff-chaffs, willow warblers and goldcrests are put first in line so they can be on the wing sooner. All ringers are volunteers and they do what they do for the passion of conserving birds. This is a wren, one of Britain's smallest birds, but it has one of the loudest songs. Cracking little bird. As I mentioned earlier, the ringers are all volunteers and they self-fund. In no way are they subsidised. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's 2 or 3 important links below, which I'll tell you about later. We've got another species here. This is a tree sparrow.
He's rather handsome, isn't he?
Yes.
They're all freshly moulted this time of year.
Yes.
What species is he?
Tree sparrow.
That's right, yeah.
Well,
No, absolutely. I'm not... There. I'll let him go.
it's lovely colour, isn't it?
As soon as I let him go, he'll be off like a rocket.
Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
This is 3.
They don't hang about.
As I mentioned earlier, these are the bags that the birds are brought to the ringing station in, and it's always the smaller, delicate birds which are put first in line.
So this is a new bird, so I'll look at this one. So it's either, again, it's got dark legs, so I think it's probably a chiff-chaff. I think most of the willow warblers are flown. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then not. So this is again a chiff-chaff. Willow warblers are just marginated to the 5th. So I've got a new chiff, Mick, on AA05.
It is. I believe it's 66 on the wing and 11.1.
There you go, it goes on. So 1, rotate it, 2, I'll just check that's, let's close it a little bit up at this end. That's variable.
6 going on a chiff on the AA.
So again, I'll look for an age on this. So that's just a juvenile tail. It's thin, it's got a bit of wear, it's pointy. So this is a 3, Mick. It's got a wing of 61. Yeah, and if it was a willow warbler, it would have a longer, it'd be 65, 66, 67, something like that. So that's 61.
Oh, no, it's just slipped down.
So 61 and 7.9.
Sorry? Is that a gold crystal?
61 and 7.9.
Gold crystal.
There we are, that's done. Yep. So we can let this birdie go.
You've got 7.
7, yeah.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
I've got
Yeah.
55.
And off he goes.
Wing.
And here we have a gold crest, Britain's smallest bird, along with the firecrest, and they only weigh about 5 grams.
You see the crest nicely. There's no orange in there, so.
Look at that tiny.
As you may have heard, there's no orange in the crest of this bird, so it's a female. You can see gold crests all year round in the UK, but during the autumn months, large numbers fly in from the colder Scandinavian countries to spend the winter here.
There's an AA, that's the smallest ring that we have, and given that these are the smallest bird that we have, that seems reasonable. They're gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah.
Lovely little things, yeah. So if you have a look, this is a female,
Yeah.
because there's no orange in there, it's just yellow.
09 on a chip.
So that's a female, that's a juvenile.
Tiny it
Yeah,
is.
that's a juvenile tail.
Yeah.
So this is a female 3. So we do the wing, just like before. That's 50. And do a weight, just like before. 5.1.
Chip 3. Wing 60.
They always look slightly grumpy, don't they?
7.7.
Fishing, yeah. I'm a computer. No, fishing for birds.
Okay, now let them go.
Fishing for birds.
Yep, there you go then, dear.
That's what they do in the States, don't they? Fish.
Now we've got some female blackcap.
You never know. 59 on the wing.
I can get 50.
While there's a bit of a lull, just walking up to the nets. These very fine mesh nets are especially made for the purpose, and in the right conditions, head on, they're invisible to the birds. These rather loud bird calls that you can hear are not the birds themselves, they're special digital bird callers which attract the birds to the nets. We were told that there was a hornet's nest just up the path here, and indeed, there it is. In my experience, I've found that if you don't disturb them, then they're quite docile. These will be around until the first frosts, which will kill them off. Just checking under the cover for lizards, slow worms or grass snakes. Nothing alive, but there is a shedded grass snake skin. Just heading back to the ringing station now for the final catch of the day. And there's a bird in the net there, looks like a dunnock. Just arrived back at the ringing station. Just look at this little beauty, it's a long-tailed tit. A gorgeous little bird. Let's have a closer look at some of the rings here. These on the blue cable are the smallest rings, known as double A's. These are used for the smallest birds, such as chiff-chaff, willow warbler, goldcrest, etc. These rings on the yellow cable are known as A rings, and these are used for the medium stroke small birds such as blackcaps, robins and finches, etc. All the various sizes are colour-coded in this way and go all the way up to the bigger rings for bigger birds. We're on to the last batch of birds for this morning, and we've got some greenfinch.
Nice.
Is that male?
Okay, so female 3.
On the bees, 86.
Yes.
Male, greenfinch.
87.
Okay. Let's have a look at him when you're done.
89. As long as you don't keep... No pressure with your friends there, you know.
Look how weight I've done.
So do you get many... As long as the shoulders are in,
Yeah.
it'll be okay.
I think this is the dunnock we saw in the net earlier.
That's 11. Right, so...
Another chiff-chaff.
So it's 65.
And they're in...
That's it, the last bird of the day is released. And that's it, that's the end of a fantastic day with the Stanford Ringing Group. Thanks to them for making us feel so welcome, and also to Simon Watts for organising the day. If you're watching on YouTube, there's some useful links below. The first is to the group's homepage, and the second link is to the easy fundraising page from which you can register and shop through all major suppliers, Amazon, etc., and donate to the group at the same time without further cost to yourself. And last but not least, I've put a link to Simon Watts' channel, Wild Presentations. Well worth a look. If you enjoy my channel and my films, then you'll definitely enjoy Simon. So if you haven't already, please check that out, and I'll see you next time.